Let me show you 3 of the most important finger picking patterns you need to know to play thousands of songs. And if you're new to fingerstyle or finger picking, this is a great starting point video to get you going with a few of the most popular finger picking patterns. So I'm going to break it down really simply for you. Let's jump right into it. And with all my videos, I've included a free PDF downloadable cheat sheet that's going to show these patterns so you could save it or print it out for your practice room. Okay, step number 1 on getting this going is you have to understand there's 3 types of chords you're going to primarily use with guitar. There's 4th string root chords like D chords. Those are chords with a D you only strum from the 4th string down. We don't use the low E or A. Then there's 5th string root chords like the C chord, where we don't use the low E, we just strum from the 5th string down. And then there's 6th string root chords like G chords, where we strum all of them from the 6th string down like that. That has to be understood because as I show you these 3 awesome finger picking patterns, you'll want to know how to apply those to those 3 types of chords. So if you're playing like a D chord, you know the pattern for that. If you're playing a C chord, what strings to pick for that. So I'm going to break down 3 of these finger picking patterns, but I'll make sure you know how to do those 3 types of chords within the video. Let's jump to number 1. Okay, finger picking pattern number 1. I think this is the easiest one. So if you're new to fingerstyle, a great one to really master. It focuses on kind of picking every other string of the chord. And it sounds so cool when you get it down. We're going to start with the 4th string root chords. So things like D or F or D minor or D7 will work with this pattern using the last 4 strings of the guitar. So let's put a D down and we'll start with that. And we're going to start with that thumb on the open D string first. Pointer finger goes to the B string. So you notice how it skipped that G. The thumb now will hit the G, the one we skipped. And then the middle finger goes to the high E. Every other. D with the thumb, pointer finger to the B, G with the thumb, middle finger with the high E. When it flows, get it a couple times in a row. And when you really get it cooking, sounds really cool. Notice how it works with the D chord or the D minor, any of those chords that use the last 4 strings with that. So that's going to be picking pattern number 1 for the 4th string root. Okay, that same picking pattern, but let's use the 5th string root. So chords like C or A minor, anything we use using that 5th string as the root note. We're going to be doing the same idea. We're going to be doing thumb to pointer, thumb to middle, okay? And we're going to be skipping every other string, but we're starting on the A string. We're the 5th string now. Thumb, pointer goes to the G, thumb comes back to the D, and then that middle finger catches the B. And that's how we're able to play chords like C with that pattern. Okay, for the 6th string roots of this finger picking pattern, if we're doing like a G chord or an E minor or an E, anything using that low, thick E as your root note chords, we're going to do that same pattern, but there's a little bit of an interesting move on this one because of the more strings to pick from. So why don't we use let's use an E minor for this example. Nice easy chord to work on with this. We're going to start with a thumb on the low E. We're going to now skip all the way to the G with our pointer. Okay, so, and then we're going to be coming to the D with our thumb, and then our middle finger will catch the B. All right, what this does is we skip the A string, but that's okay. That note is located on the B string anyway for that chord, so it still spells out an E minor chord. But if we do that, it's every other. We just don't use the A string or the high E. We go thumb on the low E, pointer on the G, thumb on the D, middle finger on the B. You can make little variations to this if you feel like you want to use the high E, but this is the pattern that keeps it nice and consistent. I think of fingerpicking being in the guitar techniques pillar. And you might be saying, what the heck's a pillar? Well, I teach from the 4 pillars of guitar learning method: guitar techniques, scales and lead, chords and rhythm, and music theory. When you study these 4 pillars overall, you get to be a better, well-rounded musician. Head over to the GuitarFactoryOC.com. You can learn a lot more about my 4 pillars guitar learning method and even get access to your free quick start course today. Okay, finger picking pattern number 2. I love this one. It's very similar to finger picking pattern number 1, but there's a bigger interval leap that happens that sounds so cool. So it's not much more difficult, but it sounds really amazing. So let's go back to the 4-string root type chords like a D chord. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit that thumb on the low E again to start. I'm sorry, thumb on the D. And then, get this, go all the way across to the middle finger on the high E. That's that big leap out of the gate. So thumb on the D, skip all the way to the high E middle, okay? Now, thumb goes on the G, and then the pointer will resolve on the B string. So we're really kind of skipping around the middle 2 strings, if you think of it that way. Thumb, D, high E, thumb on the G, and listen how it sounds when it really flows. You hear that big leap in the beginning, it sounds so amazing. And that works for an F. Okay, let's look at that one using a 5th string root. We'll use a C chord again with that. Thumb on the low on the A string, the root. Skip all the way to the B string to that middle finger. And then thumb on the D, and then pointer on the G. So same feeling, just move the strings basically to the upper set there. All right, we're gonna look at the 6th-string root here. Let's use an E minor again. We'll hit that thumb on the low E, skip all the way to the B, and then we're gonna hit the thumb on the D, and then pointer on the G. So it does those, again, outer ones first, and then the inner 2, basically, if you think about it that way. That works for the G. Sounds really nice. Any chord that starts on the low E is the root. All right, number 3, getting a little more complex. This one's very similar to the dust and the wind pattern. I love this one because it starts out with kind of a chord sound to do it. So let's take a look what this one is with the 4-string root. We'll use the D chord again for the example. And what we'll do is get our D string placed, and what we're gonna do is pinch 2 notes at once, which we haven't done yet for these patterns. So let's pinch the thumb on the D and then the middle high E together. I kind of call it the pinch because we're doing 2 together. Then we'll hit the thumb on the G, pointer finger on the B, thumb on the D, and then land with the middle on the high E. Okay, so we pinched first together, did the kind of center 2, the thumb on the G, B with the pointer, the D by itself, and the high E with the middle. That one sounds so cool because you get that chord at the beginning. For any of those 4-string roots there with that. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, if you can do me a hammer on and hammer on that like button down below, it really helps out the video and the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button so you can get alerted when I put out new videos or jump on live. Thank you again for all your support. Okay, here's that pattern with 5th-string root chords like the C again, C or A minor, or whatever you want to use for the example. I'll use the C again. We're gonna pinch, again, the thumb on the low on the A and the B together this time. There's your pinch. Thumb on the D, pointer on the G, thumb comes back to the A, and then that middle finger will resolve last on the B string. Pinch, the middle 2, thumb and pointer, and then the outer 2 of the shape, thumb, middle. All together with the C. All right, here's that pattern with 6-string root chords. We'll use that E minor again, and we'll use the thumb on the low E and then the B middle finger to pinch together. Okay, let's hit that thumb on the D, pointer finger on the G, thumb alone on the low E, and then that middle lands on the B again. So it's pinched together, D, G, thumb on the low E, middle finger on the B, flowing. And that works for a G beautifully. Let's mix a few chords together with this pattern.